What's up, everyone? This is producer Jesse. It's February. That may be your favorite or least favorite month, but either way, we're glad you're here. In this episode, Doug and Brad dive into their most romantic hallmark moments with their wives, and it definitely does not turn into a competition. Doug also pitches an idea for locomotive-based Valentine's cards. It's really something. Maybe you saw marriage in the title and thought, that's not me. Well, Doug and Brad hone in on honoring your spouse, but the principles can apply to pretty much any kind of relationship, as we live out the role of Christ's ambassadors to the people closest to us. Okay then, let's go mad.
Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new episode of Go Mad with Doug and Brad.
Hey.
We're back here with you, and today, we're in the middle of Love Month here, Valentine's
My heart
Day.
is fluttering.
Guess what?
Should I get that
This
checked out?
month? You should. But this month,
Stop that heart.
I actually celebrate 20 years of marriage. 20
Whoa.
years. That's right. So
Man.
that is coming up soon.
We're in 27 right
Look,
now.
this isn't
I
a
don't mean-
competition.
look, it's not
I don't know why
It's only a competition
this-
if I'm winning.
So we're going to
Then-
be talking today a little bit about really honoring. We're going to talk about the word honor,
Oh, man.
encourage. So you want to stick around. Now, this is not just, we got to make clear, this is not a podcast episode just if you're married. This
No,
applies. There's a lot of
This is for
takeaway
everybody,
from this.
whether you're married, whether you think you might be married someday, and whether you're like, you know what, I just love being single. We're talking about honor today and the power, the absolute spiritual power that there is in that word, specifically as we honor one another with our words. So yeah, Valentine's Day, if you're
it's
listening
here.
to
It's
this
coming.
around
It's here.
then, the day when we remind our wives what a blessing it is to be married to us. Wait, no?
We post all about it on
No?
Facebook. They are.
You know what? I would have prepared much differently.
Oh my goodness.
No, where we make sure the ones we love know that we do. I'm thinking a little outside the box this year, trying to do something a little different because it's
Really?
been 27 years on how to celebrate Anna on Valentine's Day. So you guys got to tell me what you think, okay? I don't want to be cliche. I want to do things
Sure.
differently. Flowers and candy.
Wait, both?
Yeah.
Both on the same day?
That's right. And this awesome card. Tell me what you guys think, honey. I choose you.
Nice.
And it's got a little train on the
I
front.
like
Oh, a train.
A train.
And the flowers and the candy are in the train.
It's
No, it's not
the
a real
flower
train.
Oh, it's not a real.
It's a
Well, then
picture.
why?
I just think it's going to be a wonderful day. I can't wait to see her face.
Well, you know what? If you really want to go for something different, add going out to dinner to that. that's crazy.
In a train.
In a train.
All right, so you guys tell me real quick. Tell me something romantic that you have done for your wife that you're particularly proud of, or that was a great response.
What you got,
Give me
Jesse?
something. Come on, Jesse.
Wait,
how long you been married, Jesse?
We've hit 10 years.
10
Nice.
years.
We're going on 11. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Things look different with small children than when you're first married in terms of what
You
is
don't say.
romantic. What is romantic?
Yes.
I find that my wife so appreciates the small things that include me going out of my way for her throughout the day. Like, I'm going out of my way to stop to get her coffee because coffee is her
That's
love
love.
language.
Yeah.
That is love
That
language.
is the sixth love language.
I know, Tara. That is a love
and it
language
is her
of hers.
love language. So
I like that.
anything small like that throughout
that's
the day,
very romantic.
it makes a big difference.
It does.
Yeah, I think which key point there is right. It shows you're thinking of them, not just on Valentine's Day, which, by the way, what we're talking about today and even in our next episode is going to be beyond Valentine's Day. This goes well
right.
beyond that. It's a
That's
lifestyle thing that we're talking about. But for me, it was probably a few years ago. Our church was challenging us, come up with a creative date and everything. And so I just kind of put together this 50s date. This
that's
50s
right.
date.
That was so
I had
good.
on the leather jacket, hair slicked. The hair I have left was slicked back. And
You looked a lot like the Fonz
in his later years.
in his later years.
Yeah.
Just
later.
a couple more
much
pounds.
later.
Couple more pounds.
And Sarah was she looked really cute. I mean, that was, I
remember those were great pictures.
In just kind of like the old 50s attire and everything. And it was great. We just went out, did the sharing a malt, a shake, whatever, with 2 straws and all that. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're right, guys. It's not a competition. And as I say that.
Good. Oh.
No, so when I asked Anna to marry me on Christmas Eve, 1994, I wrote her a song. And now every Christmas since, 27 of them, I write a song just for her. Only she hears it, just for her ears. Here we go. I'll give you, I'll sing it for you because you asked.
Oh.
Well, you didn't ask.
I didn't.
Here it goes. Anna, you're awesome. What do you think? I didn't say they were long.
Flowers and candy, Doug.
I
Flowers
did not say
and candy.
No, but I do that.
Candy.
So we are talking about honor today and the power that there is in honoring one another. Yes, we're talking a lot today about honoring our significant other, but what you're going to hear some things today that will bring great strength and power and even repair relationships.
That's actually, I like how you talked about honor, because this actually, an idea was brought up in church a few years ago. I was there, and we were, Sarah and I were sitting there, and this, he's with the Lord now, but his name's Gary Smalley, wrote a lot about relationships.
Yes, great.
And he talked about the honor list. And the honor list is basically where you are just throughout the year, when you think of something that you value about your spouse, that you're writing it down and that you share it with them. And one of the key things we're talking about today is with this type of honor list and encouragement is doing this with our words, which is where, specifically talking to the guys out there, the dudes, it's actually a lot of times easier to do, hey, I'll plan a date.
Yep.
I'll stop and pick something up. I'll give a gift, rather than to sit there and say,
I don't do words.
Yeah, to say, hey, this is how I feel about you. This is what I want to honor about you. So we are talking a lot about honor through our words.
And the do thing is very important. It can't just be words, but we really are trying to be an encouragement to you today for you to think about specifically how you can honor the person you're with in this relationship with your words. Because, Valentine's Day, love, all that romantic stuff, that's important. It's great to keep that fire going in your marriage. But when you're talking about love, you really are talking about honoring one another and helping each other know how important they are to you, how important they are to Jesus. I was checking out just so I could try to kind of sound smart today.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I was looking at the Greek word for...
When you say Greek, you just sound smarter. It's like, I was in the Greek.
I was just in my Greek dictionary.
I like it.
And I looked up the word encourage. It's actually, I really don't think I'm pronouncing this right, but it's oikodome. And it literally means to build up. And the Hebrew word hazak is to strengthen. That's not surprising, but I thought this was interesting. It also means to repair something. And some of us might be in a marriage right now, a relationship that is just cranking along and things are great. You might be in a time of real challenge in your marriage, in your relationship right now. The good news is encouragement, honoring through encouragement, can not only be a great builder-upper for a marriage that's already doing well, but it can even, have the spiritual power to heal things that maybe have been long hurting.
Yeah, and I like, for those who are wondering, okay, what does honor mean? What does to honor mean? I love this quote from Gary Smalley. He said, honor is the decision we make. The decision we make. So we're choosing to honor someone, to place high value on another person.
Whoa.
I love that because it really breaks down, because it's like, well, how do I honor? It's, you're saying there's this high value, and sometimes we really like to focus on the challenges. It's really easy, actually, to focus on the challenge. Man, there's this issue at home, or there's this argument we had, or we don't agree on this. But you know what? This is talking about placing high value. And if you're someone that is saying, we're going through a real rough patch, or you're someone that's saying, I don't know how I honor that person, Ephesians 2:10, we are God's masterpiece. You are, and so is your spouse. Genesis 1:27. God created us in his own image. We are image bearers, both you and your spouse. Psalm 139:14. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We all have high value.
The question is, after your wife, your husband has spent time with you, do they feel like they are God's masterpiece?
Ooh.
Have you said things when you leave the room? How about your kids? How about just when you've spent time with them, do they know that truth that they're God's masterpiece? I was thinking I know it's important for me. Yeah, I'm a guy. You try to act macho and everything, but man, I need to hear words of affirmation. I need to hear words of honor. And when Anna actually says something to me that honors me, and it's really specific, especially, it can keep you going for a week, man. It is just amazing. And it's just so important that our wives, or if you're the wife, the husband, that they hear these words of affirmation from us specifically. Because just because you're married, I was thinking about this, just because your wife, you've been married maybe for a long time, and you go, well, she's got her act together, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't hear the same lies from the culture about what makes a woman valuable or beautiful. How can you help her know specifically that she is God's masterpiece, that she is valuable and beautiful to you? This is the power of encouragement. This is actually a spiritual gift.
Jesse, when we were talking the other day, it was like, well, does the Bible say something about honor? And we know it does, but man, you dropped the verse on us that, can you share that? It was fantastic.
Yeah, Romans 12:10, I believe. The second half says, in some translations, outdo one another in showing honor.
Oh.
And how many things in the Bible say outdo each other in this?
Yeah.
It's never a competition. It's always about putting the others first. It's like in this case, though, it's almost like it's a competition who can show each other honor more than the other person.
Man, that's good.
That's how important it is to the kingdom of God.
Yes, that is how important it is. And so ultimately, what it's about, our ambassadorship. We're always talking on the podcast here how we go through life, no matter what relationship you're talking about, you are acting as Christ's ambassador. And first and foremost, you are his ambassador to your spouse. So I love, Jesse, you said yesterday too, that the end goal isn't just about strengthening your marriage, but about being an ambassador to your wife. I think sometimes we forget how holy this marriage thing is. You go through the day-to-day, and it can kind of start to get to be monotonous and everything, and we forget that we are supposed to be as Christ is to the church, a husband to the wife. This is a reflection of Jesus, who loved us so much to die for us and who was resurrected. All the power that we have in that relationship, that our marriage is supposed to be a reflection of that. This is holy stuff.
Jesse, I love the verse. I looked it up when you shared it with us, and it's got, honor one another above yourselves. Another version, take delight in honoring each other. Another version, outdo one another, as you said, in showing honor. This really, I saw this phrase related to this verse, that it's really an honor bombardment. You are, I love that you said that we usually are supposed to put others first, but this is a competition here where it's like, we're supposed to outdo each other. That is fantastic.
No, you're better. No, you're
seriously.
better. No, you're better.
And I love that, because so many times it's, even when we get that honoring or that encouragement, we feel like we have to flip and be like, no, you. And it's just like, but this is it really is, as you said, Doug, a holy thing. I wanted to sound smart too. So I'm going to throw this out there. It's not Greek. It's not Greek.
We
so
need like
it's
a
not
bell,
as smart.
a bell or something that goes off.
Loud horn.
When we're trying to sound really smart. Perfect.
This is really interesting, because there are challenges people have, reasons they would say, I can't do this. Hey, I don't share my feelings. You don't know how hard things have been recently. We're not dismissing those things, but this is something, the reality is, we can do. And here's a reason it's important to do it. There's something called confirmation bias. This is the tendency to interpret new evidence as confirmation of your existing beliefs or theories.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you focus on the challenges as this relates to our relationships, you're going to see the evidence that backs those up. You're going to say, see, yeah, I knew they would do this. But if you focus on highly valuing your spouse, if you focus on seeing their value as Jesus sees them, you're going to see more evidence to back that up. So this not only is about helping the person you're sharing this honor with, that you're saying these words to, it helps them and encourages them, repairs things, as you said, Doug, but it also impacts you because you start to see the world differently.
Someone is listening to this right now and going, man, you have no idea how much my spouse has hurt me with their words. And that does happen in every marriage. Words, we go too far. I remember my dad, when I was probably 13 years old, he brings me into his study. And if you remember, Brad, it wasn't usually to say how great you're doing with your grades when you got called into Dad's study.
You were in there a lot.
I was in there a lot. I was, and I've never forgotten this. He said, Doug, maybe more than anyone I know around your age, you have an amazing ability to make people feel amazing with your words. And I was like, oh, thanks, Dad. And then part two, but you also have an amazing ability to hurt people with your words. And if you've been on the receiving end of that from someone you love, or you've been the one doing that, you know the power of words, and how words can completely deflate somebody and hurt them, your husband, your wife, or how they can totally build them up. This iPhone, I get this new iPhone. These things are supposed to like stay charged for like 9 days or something, right? This thing runs out of charge so fast. And I was thinking about, as I was plugging this thing in last night, I was thinking about, man, is it possible that our relationships are kind of like this? Like when you go home, this is supposed to be the place where you're getting recharged, where you're getting refueled. The world beats us up so bad. The things that we hear, you just go out for the day and you hear those things. That if they're coming home and now this is a place where they're getting even more drained and feeling like anything but a masterpiece, we got to be praying about that, because this is the power of words and honor.
So here's the deal. When you're talking about this honor list, how do I do this? What does this look like? We want to break this down so it's very simple for you, so it's anyone can do this, grab hold of this. What our encouragement, our action step, the ambassador step for you to take, starting now, is to start with 3 things. Now, these can be the most basic things about your spouse. And if you're not married, then how about your mom and dad? How about one of them to honor them, but to come up, especially for married couples out there, with the first 3 things.
Get out a notebook, start writing them down.
Yeah.
Start what are things that I really love about my wife, about my husband?
And once you start, it really will start to come more naturally as you dive into this. Here's what you need to do. Invite God, when you start this, invite God to guide your heart, your thoughts. Ask him why he loves your spouse, why he sees them as highly valuable and honorable, because this is about seeing the one we love the way God sees them and saying, man, I've got to honor this, because, hey, if it's because they cook you dinner a few times a week, if it's because they do the dishes and you don't, it could be really simple and it could be really deep. But if you will start by just getting out a notebook and 3 things, I honor you because.
And I'd even encourage you, if you're maybe starting to write some things down of how you might want to take this honor challenge here, I would encourage you to actually use those words, not just say, hey, I like this about you, or this is cool about you, but I honor you for the way I honor you because of how patient you are with me. I honor you that you do so much without complaining. I honor you because you encourage me to lead our family. Brad's right. You start writing these things down, the things that you honor about the one you love, it'll snowball. You'll be surprised how many things there are.
Because you see them differently. You start to see that confirmation bias.
Yeah, and I find that it's awkward at first, and then it gets fun. No one does this naturally with parents, friends, spouse, no matter who it is. We just don't naturally go out of our way to honor something specific about a person, and it feels so weird at first. And then when you start to do it, it becomes almost freeing.
What if we made a commitment to every day, one time, say something specific that we honor our wife for, we honor our husband for? And again, you might be listening, especially as a guy, and go, well, words aren't my thing. Well, make it your thing.
We're giving you half the words. I honor you because.
We're giving you half. And this is not simply about honor. This is also about obedience. There is so much in God's word. Encourage one another daily. Honor one another. There's a scripture that says actually day by day encourage one another. Let us consider how we may spur one another on. That whole idea of thinking specifics, not just I just think you're a great wife, but
you're purty.
You're purty. And hey, that one's probably a good one. But maybe what if you said something like, okay, you're pretty is great, but what if you said, you know what, I love the way you do your hair? What if you said, you know what, I love the style I love the way that you dress.
Yeah, you said specific before.
Yeah.
And that really is key, that you get specific, even if it's about a meal. Even if it's, hey, not just I love that you cook me dinner. I love that you make one of my favorites that is this or whatever else, to get specific.
You know, Doug, you mentioned the verse, spur one another on to good works. How do you do that? Well, a big part of that is addressing, Brad, you mentioned confirmation bias. My natural sinful confirmation bias is I must be a bad parent because if my kids aren't acting the way that I think they should be, that must reflect on me, and I just must be getting everything wrong. If my wife comes in and specifically addresses that by saying, hey, I really appreciate how patient you were with our daughter today, that immediately addresses that confirmation bias that, oh, maybe that's not true. And that spurs me on to continue in good works.
I like that.
I want to encourage you, if you're listening to this just keeps coming back to me as we're talking, so I feel like someone's listening that might be struggling with this. Whether you feel like your spouse deserves to hear these words of honor because that's not how they've been communicating with you, try this and see if this starts to warm up the coldness. Try this and see the kind of spiritual power God promises us through encouragement.
I love the phrase that we've used a lot of times, and Dad has said a lot of times, take a step, see a step. So take this step, take this one step, maybe that outdo one another. Maybe that is just one honoring word. Maybe that's not part of the relationship, but it can be. It can be, and you can start that. Now, I have a confession to make. I love to honor Sarah. I love to get her things. I really love to give gifts. And I also love to be able to publicly say things, especially in front of our kids, that honor her.
Boy, is that huge.
However, this honor list, this written down one, I have not taken the time to do. And I am saying here, you can hold me accountable, podcast listeners. I'm diving into this because this is important. The more that we were talking about honor, even leading up to this and getting ready for this episode, and as I was diving in and looking at the Word of God, it really hit me that I need to be doing this. It's simple. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it's just whether it's forgetfulness or laziness or whatever.
Busyness.
This is busyness. This is important to do. And in fact, Doug, next time, I mean,
So we are actually going to have Doug's wife here, Brad's wife in here, and we are going to try to display this. We're actually going to do this for our friends listening and for our own marriages. We're not going to share with our wives what we're going to share with them until they are here in front of these microphones, and we're going to hear from them how it affects them.
yeah, they're going to talk about the importance of honor from their perspective, from
Right.
their side of the table. And so it's not just, if next episode isn't just, love fest. It's not, they're like, why would we tune in? That it's actually to show how we honor each other, how we need to, but also to hear from the lady side of things about the importance of this.
We love giving practical steps here. Before we sign off here, I'm so excited for this next episode. You have to make sure you're listening. But 3 things real quick. If you are going to do this, I just can't encourage you enough to do this. Brad, you said it's so easy. I don't know if there's something that takes less time, but that can have so much impact than doing this, than trying this. So real quick, if you are going to do this honor challenge, as it were, 3 things real quick. I would suggest you do it regularly. Make it a habit. Like we were saying, try it once a day. Number 2, do it specifically. Think it through. Think of how we may spur one another on to good works. And finally, maybe do it privately, especially if you've got kids. You don't shout it across the room. Maybe get even if it's just a moment in the car where it's just you and her.
So we hope and pray that this has been an encouragement to you to take some practical steps in your life right away with your
A
spouse.
strengthened marriage can actually affect generations.
Absolutely.
Generations of your children and their children. This is really important stuff.
So until next time, when we get to welcome our wives around the table with us, we just encourage you through these steps, through honoring those in your life, those that you love, that you will continue to go mad.